Hello everyone. Good to see you today. I'm going to get this music going. I forgot to put it in the description, or the chat rather. So I'll do that now. This album is incredible. We've played it pretty much the entirety of this list. Excuse me. Thank you to Braxton Burks for making it. So this is it, folks. This is the top 10 of the 151 greatest Pokemon of all time. And for those of you just tuning into this now, I'd like to welcome you. This has been a really great undertaking. I have enjoyed it very, very much. It started as a 1,000 subscriber special, and we are getting closer to 2,000, which makes me really happy. So, before we get to the top 10, hi Cry, how you doing? Before we get to the top 10, I wanted to do just a cute little recap of the whole list. Don't worry, it will be extremely quick. How's the music, Cry? Does it sound too loud, too quiet? So here we go. Let us begin. Our honorable mention included Magmar, Electabuzz, Staraptor, Miltank, Lurantis, Seviper, Togekiss, Zigzagoon, Castform, Kadabra, Zacian, Salazzle, Ludicolo, Excadrill, Genesect, Wishy-Washy, Bellsprout, Omastar, Ogerpon, Unknown, Mabostis, Chandelure, Haxorus, Altaria, Torterra, Silvally, Slowking, Luxray, Slacking, Crocodile, Azelf, Mesprit, Uxie, Yveltal, Sharpedo, Camerupt, Dracovish. Hello, Mom. I had, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9, 18, 27, and then that's 37, almost 40. Okay, good. Thank you, Cry. So those were our honorable mentions. Oh, yes. No, there were more. I have my little babies, my personal faves. Knocked out Dunsparce, Kingler, Nihilego. And then I have the last 4 out, which were Swampert, Marill, Avalugg, and Darmanitan. Oh, yes, of course. So if you are curious about what I have to... Darmanitan! Yes, I know you love Darmanitan. If you're curious about anything I have to say on any of those Pokemon, obviously go check out the rest of the list. Hello, Lock Test, good to see you. And I'm going to go through the entire list quickly here. So, at 151, we have Wobbuffet. 150, we have Tauros. 149, Corviknight. 148, Sylveon. 147, Munchlax. 146, Nidoqueen. 145, Regigigas. 144, Toxtricity. 143, Muck. 142, Vileplume. 141, Talonflame. 140, Samurott. 139, Infernape. 138, Diglett. 137, Braviary. 136, Chikorita. 135, Poliwrath. 134, Ampharos. 133, Donphan. 132, Flygon. 131, Aggron. 130, Noivern. 129, Persian. 128 Mudkip, 127 Kingdra, 126 Bidoof, 125 Aegislash, 124 Jirachi, 123 Poliwhirl, 122 Kangaskhan, 121 Sudowoodo, 120 Smeargle, 119 Landorus Thundurus Tornadus, 118 Shaman, 117 Manaphy, 116 Pichu, 115 Arbok, 114 Spiritomb, 113 Rapidash, 112 Magneton, 111 Skarmory, 110 Hitmonlee, 109 Hitmonchan, 108 Xerneas, 107 Weezing, 106 Heracross, 105 Marowak, 104 Necrozma, 103 Voltorb / Electrode, 102 Gallade, 101 Empoleon, 100 Geodude, 99 Zygarde, 98 Sneasel, 97 Starmie, 96 Executor, 95 Gudra, 94 Lycanroc, 93 Incineroar, 92 Cosmog / Lunala / Solgaleo, 91 Haunter, 90 Slowbro, 89 Deoxys, 88 Scizor, 87 Rhydon, 86 Aerodactyl, 85 Totodile, 84 Cyndaquil, 83 Zubat, 82 Butterfree, 81 Ninetales, 80 Regirock, Regice, and Registeel, 79 Ditto, 78 Clefairy, 77 Mr. Mime, 76 Chansey, 75 Rotom, 74 Absol, 73 Scyther, 72 Houndoom, 71 Steelix, 70 Darkrai, 69 Slowpoke, 68 Cubone, 67 Mimikyu, 66 Decidueye, 65 Salamence, 64 Onix, 63 Raichu, 62 Raikou, 61 Togepi, 60 Zekrom, 59 Reshiram, 58 Typhlosion, 57 Tyranitar, 56 Crobat, 55 Blaziken, 54 Flareon, 53 Latios / Latios, 52 Nidoking, 51 Volcarona, 50 Metagross, 49 Sceptile, 48 Zoroark, 47 Garchomp, 46 Pidgeot, 45 Melodic, 44 Magikarp, 43 Vaporeon, 42 Jolteon, 41 Arceus, 40 Lapras, 39 Espeon, 38 Arcanine, 37 Palkia, 36 Dialga, 35 Kyogre, 34 Groudon, 33 Jigglypuff, 32 Psyduck, 31 Entei, 30 Ho-Oh, 29 Dragonite, 28 Greninja, 27 Machamp, 26 Alakazam, 25 Gardevoir, 24 Celebi, 23 Moltres, 22 Articuno, 21 Zapdos, 20 Meowth, 19 Charmander, 18 Squirtle, 17 Bulbasaur, 16 Venusaur, 15 Giratina, 14 Snorlax, 13 Blastoise, 12 Umbreon, 11 Rayquaza. 55 Blaziken, 55 Metagross, 55 Mouth, 55 Venusaur. Thank you for that. That was amazing. Oh, yes, do the poker rap for me tonight, folks. Ooh, all right. So, now we're into the top 10, finally, after that blazing recap. And I think this top 10 is going to start out with a little bit of a controversial selection. And I'm really curious to see what y'all think about this. So, without further ado, let's get started. At number 10, we have Suicune. Suicune comes in at number 10. I really was waffling on if I wanted to include Rayquaza at the number 10 spot or Suicune at the number 10 spot. I decided that Suicune gets the little baby edge, and I'm going to outline that for you right now. So, much like Rayquaza, Suicune was a cover star one time. It was a cover star of the third version of the Gen 2 games. It is a legendary Pokemon, of course. It has heavy features in Crystal and Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I would argue it does have, I think slightly heavier features in those games than Rayquaza does in the original Emerald. Now, the Delta episode's another story. The Delta episode rips. We all know this. But I think in their original games, Suicune has a little bit more of a front and center role, even though you could argue Rayquaza's is more important to the story. Anyway, Suicune has iconic lore, which it shares with Ho-Oh, Raikou, and Entei, all Pokemon on this list. Of course, it was a Pokemon that passed away and was resurrected by Ho-Oh. We have a paradox form for Suicune, much like we do for Entei and Raikou. However, this here, Walking Wake, was the first one that they decided to introduce. I believe to be the strongest one. I believe to be the most seamless fusion of, like, cat and dinosaur, which is kind of what they were going for with these paradox forms for the legendary beasts. I think Walking Wake is the most successful of the three, and it is nice for Suicune to finally have a form against Rayquaza's Mega form. Walking Wake does rip. You are so right. Broke your no legendary rule to use it. Dude, I don't blame you. It is a Velociraptor Suicune. And again, I think it's the most successful of those Pokemon, of those paradox forms of the beasts. Let's get into some trading card stuff while I'm on the subject. We have this amazing Neo Revelation Holo. We have great ones of Raikou and Entei as well, but this Suicune is absolutely amazing. I am actually happy to own this Suicune. Not first edition, however, but really great art there. It also has a Gold Star card, again, much like Entei and Raikou, and Rayquaza for that matter, so this is pretty cool. I really like the artwork on that. Love the Gold Star cards from the Gen 3 era. Very exclusive. Now, it is the co-star of Pokemon Forever. Rayquaza also kind of shares a movie with another legendary in Deoxys. But Suicune really is kind of like the Pokemon that saves the day in that film. And it oddly takes as much of a starring role to me as Celebi does at times in that movie. But one of the things that really put Suicune over the edge for me, honestly, in such a close race with Rayquaza, Forever was so cool, thank you for saying that. The art in Pokemon Forever, by the way, the animation is so wonderful. Suicune is a playable character in Pokken Tournament, and I remember Rayquaza was featured as a mini-boss in Smash Bros. Brawl, but I feel like Suicune has been given a little bit more kind of main character treatment than Rayquaza has, and I'm really comparing these two because it was neck and neck for number 10. I think they have given Suicune a little bit more of a personality, a little bit more protagonist energy. I think Rayquaza is a bit more of a just like really powerful entity, kind of more of like more godlike, where Suicune feels a little bit more on the ground, a little bit more personal, and being introduced in Generation 2 is definitely going to help that. Let's see. Yes, oh my gosh, yes, that CG Celebi tree monster was crazy. And gosh, those forests. Oh, the forest looks so good. But Suicune is also catchable in Pokemon Coliseum, which we love. All the beasts are. And it was a Smash Bros. Pokeball, I believe, first introduced in Melee. So that is amazing. Again, I would say that the reason I put Suicune just above Rayquaza is that protagonist energy, we'll say. And we're going to encounter that a little bit more here in the top 10. But at number 10, we have Suicune. Let's move along to number 9. At number 9, we have Lucario. Talk about protagonist energy. Lucario is, I think, maybe one of the great mascot Pokemon. I think Lucario is, again, it has protagonist energy. Lucario could be its own character. In fact, in its movie, it pretty much is. And Lucario is just that absolutely effortlessly cool Pokemon. Everybody can like it. Not only is it kind of cute, not only is it kind of powerful, it's also kind of cool. It's a little bit of everything. Lucario is maybe one of the most likable Pokemon that Game Freak and the Pokemon Company have ever designed. So here we see it at number 9. We also get some great NPC features here for Lucario. It is the ace Pokemon of Gym Leader Maylene in the Gen 4 games. It is kind of, not technically the ace Pokemon of Korrina in the Gen 6 games, but as the Mega Evolution Guru, she uses Lucario, and we'll get to that more later. It is a iconic member of Champion Cynthia's team, the most iconic champion of all time. Oh, Lucario is a fun name to say. It's got that really nice, like, jackal influence. And conversely, it's also on Pokemon Wielder Volo's team. It is also featured on Elite Four Marshall's team in the Challenge mode in Generation 5. And it is an iconic gift Pokemon, and it is gifted in a few different ways. In the Generation 4 games, when we played Platinum, you can get a Riolu egg from Riley at Iron Island, which is super cool, a really nice place in the story to pick up a Riolu. And in Generation 6, Korrina will just give you a free Mega Lucario. It is famously one of the most broken Pokemon to ever exist. And once you get it after the 3rd gym in those games, you can just solo the game super easily. I know speedrunners will use Mega Lucario. Has a really cool, unique type. It is a Fighting and Steel type, which they don't have very much. I know Cobalion has that, but that might be the only other one. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat and comments. You are so right. Mom points out that Zeraora is a very similar Pokemon to Lucario and that it should have been more of a standard Pokemon and not a mythical, and I tend to agree. I think they're very much in the same category, and if that was the case, we might have seen Zeraora on this list. That's a really good point. Obviously, Lucario is playable in Smash Bros. One of the earlier Pokemon to get that distinction. It got it in Brawl. Oh gosh, I loved its original Final Smash. Just that great aura attack it would use. So cool. And in addition to being in Smash Bros, it's also playable in Pokken Tournament. Not many Pokemon have that distinction, but Lucario is one of them. We mentioned Lucario's Mega Evolution, but I just want to show it off here again. This thing is super sick. This is a really cool example of a Mega. It is not over-designed. It's just a nice, slightly enhanced version of Lucario. Just looks a little bit cooler. I really, really like this Mega for Lucario. Was iconic in Gen 6, and it's going to be great in Pokemon Legends ZA in a little while. So that's very, very nice. And I will say, as I say in all of these episodes a little too late, that I will be saying spoilers for any Pokemon game. So if you have not played any of the Pokemon games, just be warned. I mentioned it a little bit there. Lucario is a cool mascot. It is, again, one of the most likable designs Pokemon's ever created. I would argue it is Pokemon trainer Riley's team member. One of my favorite team-ups in the Generation 4 games. Y'all know I love them. And I love when you team up with Riley in Iron Island and his Lucario. Very, very cool. It got a Crown Zenith promo card, which we love to see. This really intense promo card from Crown Zenith. Crown Zenith is one of my favorite sets of all time, certainly one of my favorite modern sets of all time. And this was the Elite Trainer Box promo, which is super sick. I know Lucario's... Oh, I mean, I will say... Lucario just got a huge feature in the TCG in the set Mega Evolution. We have this new gold rarity Mega Lucario EX, and no, that price is not a typo. But my favorite of that set is this illustration rare Mega Lucario EX. Again, very expensive. Very, very cool. Just one of the many features for Lucario in the TCG. I will shout out an underrated artwork for Lucario. Was this one from Unbroken Bonds? This Lucario and Melmetal GX. Gosh, I love this card. Okay, those are Chinese. As you can see, it goes for quite a bit more now. I remember picking this up for $5 back in the day. Oh, that gold is insane. I do like the action shots. I mean, this one is super, super cool. One of the great things about that tag team era, just to go on a little tangent, is that the regular GXs were awesome. Like that Gengar Mimikyu GX card goes for a ton of money. And again, Lucario is the star of its own movie, Lucario and the Mystery of Mew. I remember really liking that movie. I believe it might have been one of the last Pokemon movies that I did see. So Lucario is the star there, and has an aura connection with Ash in that film. So you put all that together, and Lucario is certainly one of the most iconic Pokemon of all time. I feel very comfortable with my placement of it here at number 9 on our list. So let's keep on moving. At number 8, we have Gyarados. Gyarados is simply one of just the best, most just pervasive Pokemon of all time. It is in pretty much every mainline Pokemon game, and it is always a really strong, really solid member of your team. We used it in our Pokemon Yellow playthrough. Gyarados is simply one of the most iconic Pokemon of all time for its ferociousness and just it's always being there. So, the first thing I decided to write for Gyarados on this entry is it has its iconic static encounter. The red Gyarados in Generation 2 is most likely many of the people watching this video's first shiny Pokemon ever. If you did not grow up with Generation 2, even if you grew up with Generation 4, like some of you younger folks, it still might have been your first shiny because it appeared in Heart Gold and Soul Silver as well. Gyarados shares that iconic lore with Magikarp, Magikarp being the carp that made it to the top of the waterfall and achieved greatness, and Gyarados just being the other half of that. Now, again, Gyarados is one of the most represented Pokemon of all time in the main series games, and we see that in spades in its NPC representation. Like, it is the ace Pokemon of Team Flare Boss Lysander. It is on Elite Four Lance's team. It is on Champion Lance's team. It's on Crasher Wake, the gym leader's team. It's on Cybold's team in the Generation 6 games. It is on Champion Wallace's team in the Generation 3 games. It is on Galactic Boss Cyrus's team in the Generation 4 games. Gyarados is absolutely everywhere, and for good reason. It's so cool and so strong and so ferocious. But I mentioned that it is on Team Flare Boss Lysander's team. It's his ace Pokemon because Gyarados got a Mega Evolution. And I do want to just note about Gyarados' Mega Evolution here they decided to make it a dark type. It goes from water flying to water dark, and I always thought it was such a missed opportunity that they did not make Gyarados a water dragon type. I mean, I know Kingdra exists, but Gyarados has always been thought of a dragon. It's based off a Chinese dragon. Lance has it on his teams famously, so I really thought that's the direction they would go. But I mean, Dark still fits it. It still fits it, but not like those big old fins, but that's just my 2 cents there. It does still get a Mega. That's great. That's great for its resume. Let's see. Oopsie daisy, I did not mean to go up, but I'm glad I went up and not down. Let's see. We also have a great holo in the original TCG. I mean, look at this thing. These Arita arts in the early days just go so hard. That neon kind of yellowy green on it. Oh, I love this Gyarados card. Oh, it's so, so cool. Bubble Beam and Dragon Rage. And of course, base set holo. Come on now. That's so, so sick. Featured in Pokemon Snap. Iconically so, if you knocked a Magikarp over the mountain in the river area of Pokemon Snap, you could knock that Magikarp into the waterfall to make it evolve into Gyarados, and it'll come out of the waterfall. So, so cool. One of the best features in Pokemon Snap, I would argue. Iconic, fearsome design. We also see, man, some other great cards. We mentioned the base set holo, but I mean, this Shining Gyarados right here is one of the great TCG cards of all time. I mean, this thing is so, so cool. The original Shining, this was a Neo Revelation along with Shining Magikarp. Again, the red Gyarados, like I talked about in the Gen 2 games. I mean, it doesn't get much more iconic than this. That's Sugimori artwork now, baby. Come on now. Sugimori and Arita, let's go. And then again, Gyarados received its own Gold Star card. Oops, I guess not there. Let me search it here. This right here is from Delta Species. The red Gyarados gets a Fire-type card, which is amazing. As you can see, this card is basically $2,000 damaged. The only listing on TCG Player. Anyway, these Gold Star cards are no joke. Also featured in Detective Pikachu. There's that nice little bit where a Magikarp evolves and kind of floods the arena that they're in when it becomes a Gyarados. So again, Gyarados is one of the best represented Pokemon in the whole main series. I mean, we're going to see it again in Pokemon Legends ZA, and I know a lot of people will be happy to see it. But at number 8, we have Gyarados, very comfortable with its ranking there. So, on to number 7, we see Gengar. Gengar is the ghost Pokemon I have here. It is the ghost-type Pokemon archetype. They have yet to top it. They've come up with many other great ghost Pokemon, but Gengar just is. It's the OG. It's the best representation of a Pokemon as a ghost. And we see that throughout Pokemon's history. They just keep representing it because it's still so perfect. And it's getting to Halloween time now, so it's Gengar season, baby. It's the Pokemon Ghost-type Pokemon archetype. We have a couple different forms here. We have the Gigantamax form. He is just a silly little guy. He's just very mischievous. We have this Gigantamax form introduced in Generation 8, which is super duper cool, the big scary mouth. And then we have the Mega Evolution also. I tend to enjoy the Mega Evolution a little more. It is a little bit of an interesting choice for Gengar, but it is still really, really cool. This was obviously introduced in Gen 6 with the other Megas. So, as far as team representation, a lot like Gyarados, we see Gengar a lot. It's very well represented. Again, it was the only Ghost family in Generation 1, and there was only one other new Ghost Pokemon added in Generation 2, and they didn't rep that at all. Misdreavus, a Pokemon I love. But we see Gengar as the ace of Agatha in the Gen 1 games, the Gen 3 games, and Let's Go. We see him as Morty's ace Pokemon in the Gen 2 games and the Gen 4 games. We see it as Alistair's ace Pokemon in the Gen 8 games. That's where we see the Gigantamax form. It is a member of Gym Leader Fantina's team in the Diamond and Pearl games only. In Platinum, it was wisely de-evolved to a Haunter for Fantina to be your third gym badge in that game. The routing in Diamond and Pearl was all screwed up. And of course, we do see it again in the flawed remakes, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. And famously, it is on Elite Four Karen's team in the Gens 2 and 4 games, not being a dark type, but very representative of the dark type, which is something that I really like. I really appreciate when NPC trainers are a bit more themed than strictly monotype. And I think those first couple gens did it really, really well. I put Pokemon Unite. I don't think I wrote Pokemon Unite for any other Pokemon, so don't worry about that. Just another little thing for Gengar. I didn't put too much weight on that. We see great representation in the TCG. Here, this Fossil Hollow. We gotta love the OG CG art here from Fossil. Man, I love that original holofoil so much. We have a holo from Gym Challenge. This here is Sabrina's Gengar. Fun fact about this, a lot of you TCG fans will know this already. In the Japanese version of Sabrina's Gengar, the background here actually features a graveyard, a cemetery. But I guess they thought for Western audiences that would be a little bit too spooky, so they just took the gravestones out. So now it's just Gengar standing in a field. So there's that little fun fact for you. We have this Tag Team GX card. This was the card I spoke of earlier. This is the Gengar and Mimikyu GX. Again, this was just a regular ultra rare, also illustrated by Arita. So we see him illustrating cards in the original base set and in Team Up all the way back in the Sun and Moon days. This card is absolutely wonderful. You could buy it for $5 back in the day, and let me tell you, that's no longer the case. No longer the case. And we see this Gengar VMAX. This was in Fusion Strike, I do believe. This is one of the iconic cards of the Sword and Shield era. Really, really great card. Love the illustration. Gosh, the background work on that is amazing. And I don't always notice it, but it's really, really cool. Gengar is playable in Pokémon Tournament, and I remember like kind of his big ultra move. He would open his mouth and you would go into his big scary mouth like his Gigantamax form. Featured in Detective Pikachu as well. Usually a lot of the most iconic Pokemon got featured in that movie because it was of course so expensive to animate those Pokemon, so they're only going to include some of the most iconic, and Gengar is certainly one of those. And again, Gengar is one of the most successful Pokemon designs of all time, in addition to its resume highlights here. And that's not even to mention, really, its own area in Lavender Town in the Gen 1 games. Those original ghosts were really, really strong back then, and Gengar just rips, man. We love Gengar. Totally deserves to be here at number 7. So, whew, man, I'm going to be so hoarse by the end of this, but at number 6, we have Mew. Mew at number 6. This one was a little bit difficult to place because Mew is literally a mythical Pokemon and has a lot of mythos around it. People don't have a lot of actual experience with it, like playing the games in those early gens, like the OGs like me. We do have a lot of kind of theoretical experience with it, and a lot of legend, a lot of playground lore, if you will. But I thought 6 was a really nice spot for Mew. So it was the original mythical Pokemon. It is the ancestor of all Pokemon, which is really, really cool. Has an incredibly cute design. This, Mew starts off that trend of the pixie mythical, where we see in other Pokemon like Celebi, like Jirachi, Victini. So many of those mythical Pokemon get that kind of pixie appearance because of Mew's template, which is really, really cool. And you love how a Pokemon is both very, very cute and very, very powerful. Excuse me. It is the final boss of Pokemon Snap. That weighed really heavily for me. Once you complete all those areas in Pokemon Snap and you can go finally unlock the rainbow cloud at the end of the game, and you can encounter Mew. It is so, so cool. One of the great underrated moments in Pokemon history, in my opinion. We talked about that iconic pre-internet lore. No one really knew how to get Mew. There were Mew glitches. There was the iconic rumor that Mew was located under the truck in Vermilion City, which wasn't really the case, but you could get Mew via a glitch back in the day. I never did it. I never knew how. But Mew had a lot of legend around it in reality for that reason. It was a rare Pokeball in Super Smash Bros. I wanted to mention because it was always exciting when you got that Mew and it just flew away and it's a little bubble. It didn't do anything. But let's talk about its TCG representation now. I mean, Mew's got great cards all over the place. But I think I should start here with the Ancient Mew. This card accompanied... Will it stay big for me? Okay, great. This card accompanied Pokemon the Movie 2000. The antagonist of that film had this Ancient Mew card, and this was imbued with mystery in that film, and one of the great iconic promo cards of all time. I mean, this thing is super sick. And you kind of see that like Mew was supposed to have been discovered in like South America. You kind of like see some of that, maybe a little bit of ancient Egyptian. It's very interesting. Mew has a Gold Star card, much like other ones. Man, they keep not wanting me to see the Gold Stars. Yeah, right here. Oh my goodness, this water-type Mew, absolutely crazy. $94,000 PSA 10. Who wants to buy it? Let's see. We have this Tag Team GX card as a really... Ooh, we're huge. As a really nice modern card. This was actually a promo for Unified Minds. This card is so great and really illustrates that great foil between the playful Mew and the hyper-serious Mewtwo. Wonderful card. Excuse me. But I mean, I would be remiss if I did not mention this Mew card from Paldean Fates. This thing is incredible. The Bubble Mew, it's called. $600 card. Really awesome. And there's also the Mew cards from Pokemon 151. I really like the promo of Mew. Mewtwo also has a great one. And I mean, like here, this promo here, these WotC promos, the Lily Pad Mew, the Mew with the rainbow background there, also crazy iconic. We have this right here, which I love. So many great cards for Mew. So many. And finally, sorry to keep going on and on about this, but that one... See if we can find it here on TCG Player. No. One more shot. I gotta show you this. Because this is one of my favorite cards of all time. One I would love to have in my collection is this Koro Mew that was given out in Koro magazine in Japan. I love this shiny Mew. I love the holo, love the Neo Destiny symbol, of course. One of my favorite vintage cards of all time, the Koro Mew. But getting more into Mew's resume, we see it featured in the film Lucario and the Mystery of Mew. We've mentioned Lucario already. And it's the star of Pokemon, the first movie. OGs like me will remember Mew for that reason, and maybe for that reason only, but they'll remember Mew. And it's clashed with Mewtwo. We kind of talked about it there in Unified Minds. Mew being kind of the more pure version of Mewtwo's hatred of mankind, but Mew kind of shows him the way. And that connection to Mewtwo in and of itself is a huge resume point for Mew. And finally, I wanted to mention one of my favorite theories in the Pokemon canon. It is that Dittos are failed Mew clones, kind of like the failed versions of Mewtwo, because Mew is the only other Pokemon that can learn Transform, like Ditto can, and Mew is the ancestor of all Pokemon. So people think that Dittos are just kind of like these weird, amorphous, sludgy, failed clones of Mew. And it does make a little bit of sense. They're both cute, they're both pink, they both know Transform. There's some lore to back it up. We know that Mew has tried to be cloned. It's pretty cool. I like that theory a lot. I think Game Freak has said it's not true, but I like it, and I wanted to include it. So we have that. And at number 6, we have Mew. Love to see Mew here. We're getting into the top 5, gang. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Oh, let's do it. Got Ecruteak City backing us up. All right, at number 5, we have Eevee. Eevee being at number 5 is an absolute no-brainer. Having all of those iconic evolutions is going to be a huge feather in its cap. It's also one of the other main mascots of the series, and we see that was proven when it got its own game, its own cover star of Let's Go Eevee, being an alternate version to Pikachu as a mascot, which it might be second only to Pikachu as a mascot for the series. So Eevee at number 5 feels really, really right there. Again, talk about it as the cover star of Let's Go Eevee. It is a starter Pokemon. We do see it as a starter in Pokemon Yellow, technically. Our rival picks it up. We also see it technically as a starter in Pokemon Coliseum with Espeon and Umbreon. So Eevee is awesome. And I mean, obviously, of course, we see it as a starter in Let's Go Eevee. I mentioned how it's an alternate mascot. It's an iconic gift Pokemon. I said 5 times. Man, do I even remember where Eevee is gifted? In Gen 1, you get it at the top of that building in Celadon City. In Gen 2, you get it from Bill in Goldenrod City. In Gen 3, I don't think you get it in the Gen 3 games. No, you don't. In Gen 4, you get it in Platinum as a gift. In Hearthome City. Oh my goodness. I'm blanking on the other ones. Where are the other times you get Eevee as a gift? For Gen 3 is just in the remakes. Yeah, that's what I thought, Cry. Am I counting the Gen 3 remakes and Heart Gold, Soul Silver? I very well might be. Maybe that's why I said times 5. But anyway, it's a gift Pokemon a lot. 8 different evolutions. I mean, all iconic, all great. Many of them made this list. I think the only 2 that didn't were Glaceon and Leafeon, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they were the only ones that did not. Featured in Pokemon Snap, new Pokemon Snap. Specifically, I believe it was chasing around a rolling Chansey, which was very, very cute in Pokemon Snap. Mystery Dungeon, I mean, that's whatever. Super Smash Bros. Pokeball, which I always really enjoyed. Eevee is one of the only pre-evolved Pokemon to get its own Gigantamax form. Earlier on our list, we saw that Meowth got a Gigantamax form. And this Gigantamax form in particular was immortalized in the Shining Fates set. It was on the ETB and the ETB promo. Let's see. It got a Z move in the Gen 7 games, Extreme Evo Boost. Again, another very something reserved for key Pokemon. It also got many, many signature moves in Let's Go that are very dumb. But it got them nonetheless for every type. So your Eevee can just cover all types. Those starter Pokemon are so broken in those games. Again, it was a starter for your rival in Pokemon Yellow, which is really, really cool. It has the connection to Team Star Boss Penny. That Eevee backpack is iconic, and of course, Penny having many of the different Eevee evolutions, if you will, on your team. Oh, hello, Shell. How nice of you to join us. Thank you. I mean, there's some really, really great Eevee stuff. I mentioned how it was the mascot of Shining Fates, and it kind of ended that 2020 bubble, which I kind of wish the bubble that exists right now would end, but alas. Let's get to some of these great TCG cards. This Himeno artwork here in Jungle is absolutely gorgeous. Oh, this iconic Eevee Jungle artwork. You love to see it. Love the colors. Really captures the imagination. We also have a Scream promo for Eevee. These were huge, huge promos. Very, very expensive cards. And of course, they look like the iconic Scream painting. There were many Pokemon that got cards like this. Psyduck got one, among others. Rowlet as well. But this was great for Eevee. Eevee also being kind of a face of Prismatic Evolutions, which I believe Prismatic Evolutions is kind of the beginning of the current huge Pokemon hype. Was Prismatic Evolutions. Like, we see a nice illustration rare there. We also have a wonderful promo. If I can find it here, I might just have to search it up. Let's see. Let's just do Eevee promo, because we're bound to find some other great cards. Yes, this Hollow WotC promo, iconic. This card right here is the one I was looking for. Oh my goodness, this beautiful promo from Prismatic Evolutions. Gosh, love this card. So Eevee has gotten a lot of iconic representation lately in the trading card game. And not only lately, it has gotten it throughout the trading card game's entire history, as we have outlined. But Eevee's real claim here is that it is probably one of the biggest mascots for Pokemon in general. It really, really succeeds at being a very, very cute blank canvas. Eevee, you can really project your imaginations onto Eevee. It is both a dog and a cat and a fox, and it's kind of everything cute in that way. And you can just imagine Eevee becoming anything that you'd like, which is really, really cool. And I wish that they would make another Eeveelution, man. I want to see that. Anyway, here we have Eevee at number 5. And now, I've been waiting for this the whole list. At number 4, we have Lugia. As you all know, Lugia is my personal favorite Pokemon of all time, and having Lugia at number 4 might be a teeny tiny bit of bias on my part, but as you will see, I think that I can argue that Lugia is certainly a top 5 Pokemon of all time. Lugia is the man cry. Lugia is the man. It's so true. So Lugia is a 4-time cover star. We see him on the front of Silver, Soul Silver, Pokemon XD, Gale of Darkness, and one of the greatest covers of all time, and Pokemon Stadium 2, if you want to count that, along with Ho-Oh. Lugia is a legendary Pokemon, of course, which was introduced in Generation 2. It has the iconic lore that it was with Ho-Oh in Ecruteak City, and they lived on the 2 towers. But when one burned down, Lugia retreated to the Whirl Islands because the tower burned down, and Lugia took roost there. Actually, I might be getting that wrong. Lugia might have been on the tower that was in Goldenrod City that they tore down for the radio tower. Either way, very, very cool. And Lugia is the trio master of the legendary birds, much like Ho is the trio master of the legendary beasts, which is super, super sick. Lugia has his signature move, Aeroblast, one of my favorite moves of all time, probably my favorite Pokemon move of all time. I think it's so, so cool. I mentioned Lugia's dope shadow form, and it is the only, mega or anything form that Lugia has gotten, but I mean, look at this bad boy, man. This thing is so, so cool. Oh, I love the GameCube era so much. Ooh, Pokemon XD rocks. Love it. Featured in new Pokemon Snap. This is actually something that I have not experienced, but I know in the ocean levels you can experience Lugia at the ocean's depths, which is super, super, super sick. You could get Lugia in a Pokeball as well. I believe that started in Melee. Let's get into some of Lugia's great TCG representation. You could argue that Lugia might be one of the greatest trading card game Pokemon of all time. One of them, certainly. We have many, many, many iconic cards for Lugia here. This one from Neo Genesis. Personal favorite of mine. That Elemental Blast really captured my imagination as a child. So cool. I actually pulled 2 of these when I was younger. Oh, those were wonderful times. This card is amazing, extremely expensive, much like the base set Charizard. We have the Crystal Lugia from Aquapolis. This one is also iconic, very, very rare. So great. There were only a few Crystal-type Pokemon in those e-reader sets, and those sets are, of course, very, very rare today. We have the Legend cards. These, I believe, are from... They're from the Heart Gold, Soul Silver era. I don't know which set. But these were 2 cards that you actually had to get separately, and they would come together to form this picture that we see here. Also knowing Elemental Blast, another nod to that Neo Genesis Lugia there. Love this card. I would love to have this in my collection one day. This right here, I am extremely happy to have in my collection. This alt art right here, I have heard people criticize this card. I think this is one of the coolest artworks of all time, especially in the modern Pokemon TCG. Lugia flying overhead the night of a storm. Oh, the unsuspecting fisherman there. Gosh, I love this card. This was from the Silver Tempest set, the prize of the Silver Tempest set. And I mean, hey, nothing says Silver Tempest like Lugia in a storm, huh? Gosh. This is one of my favorite cards of all time. For my favorite Pokemon of all time. And then I just want to mention, I mean, there's a lot of other cards that I can mention with Lugia, but I want to mention this. This was a first appearance card. These were really, really rare cards that you could only get in the Topps Pokemon the Movie 2000 set. I believe there was like a Bellossom and a Marill as well, and they're kind of like these ghost rare cards. And especially now, if you pull them from packs, the cards will often be stuck together. So it's very, very difficult to get a gradable copy of this card. I believe, I don't know if there are any PSA 10s. I'm sure there are somewhere, but if they are, it's extremely exclusive. We have the Baby Lugia anime arc, something that I just wanted to mention, which is really, really cool. But for me and a lot of people, much like we talked about Mew from Pokemon the first movie, Lugia from Pokemon the Movie 2000 is just peak. Man, it's so sick. And just the imagery here is so iconic, it's insane. Just emerging from the whirlpool that's bursting out of the sea, Lugia just coming to quell the fighting of Moltres, Zapdos, and Articuno is so amazing. Oh, there in the sunset, here he is ready to give Ash a ride. And then, yes, this right here, baby. Oh yeah, I love that so much. Lugia probably has the second most iconic film appearance of any Pokemon, I would say. And that is another one of the reasons why Lugia is so high up on the list. And it's worth noting that when Lugia and Ho-Oh were introduced, they did not need to be encountered. So there was still like a great level of mystery around these Pokemon, even though they were on the covers of the games, which I loved very, very much. Just so great. One of the great Pokemon of all time. Obviously, you know I love Lugia. I mentioned it at the very beginning of this list, and I'm very, very happy to see our friend Lugia here at number 4. So now it's the top 3. If you all are familiar with Pokemon, you know what the top 3 are. Really, it's just the order. So, without further ado, let me reveal that order for you. So at number 3, we see Mewtwo. Mewtwo is the 3rd greatest Pokemon of all time. And if you just look at it, it is one of the coolest, most imposing designs that Pokemon has ever made. Mewtwo was the strongest Pokemon of all time when it was created by a mile, because that special stat was combined into one stat. It was not special attack and special defense. It was just one special stat. So Mewtwo's base stat total was like effectively over 700, basically, in the games that it was introduced. And of course, that Psychic type was way overpowered. And that's just talking about Mewtwo in the OG Gen 1 games. So let's get into Mewtwo otherwise. It's the final boss of the original games. When you defeat the game in Generation 1, really the only post-game to speak of was going to Cerulean Cave and catching Mewtwo in that iconic location. So it is the OG boss, OG final boss, which we love. It has, of course, the iconic lore of being a clone of Mew, harnessed by Team Rocket, and of course, it's the horrible experiments done upon Mewtwo were the source of its ire toward mankind that we see in the Pokemon the movie, Pokemon the first movie, which is just so beautiful. Not only is it the final boss of the original games, you also get it as a static encounter in Generation 6, in the Kalos games. And that is when we see not 1, but 2 Mega Evolutions. Here we have Mega Mewtwo X. This is a fighting and psychic type, really leaning into the physical power of Mewtwo. But here, for Mega Mewtwo Y, we see honing in more on the mental power of Mewtwo, kind of big braining it, so to speak. Both very cool, very different, and insane that Mewtwo gets 2 Megas. Insane. So, now, I love this. Mewtwo is the ace Pokemon of Rainbow Rocket Giovanni. For those of you not familiar with Generation 7, there was a Rainbow Rocket episode, in the Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon games, where various evil team members are coming in from wormholes, and these are like the versions of the team members that were successful in their multiverse, so to speak. So they all have the legendary Pokemon they were chasing. And Giovanni, of course, has Mewtwo being the final boss of the Rainbow Rocket episode. It is so awesome. Playable in Smash Bros. Mewtwo was one of the earliest Pokemon you could play. It was introduced in Melee, which is super awesome. Also playable in Pokken. I mentioned that as a distinction for Lucario, and Mewtwo even got another cool form in Pokemon in the form of Shadow Mewtwo, that jagged crystal sticking out of its shoulder. So sick. Oh my gosh, that little dash of color on there. This Mewtwo here is so awesome. Playable in Pokemon Unite, you know that was the reason it got to number 3. And let's get into the TCG here. We have an original base set holo. I have always weighed that very heavily on this list. Specifically, the original base set in the TCG is as iconic as it comes. Just that OG Sugimori art. Rocket's Mewtwo, we see this here in the Gym Challenge set. One thing I really like about Rocket's Mewtwo here is that there's extra text. So this is one of the only cards that like shrinks the actual photo of the Pokemon, which is really interesting to me. It might be the only one in the like original WotC run. This is a very interesting card in the TCG's history for that reason. Also gets its own Gold Star card, along with Mew. a lot of the Pokemon high on this list will have gotten these ultra rare gold stars. Excuse me. We, of course, have the Shining Mewtwo from Neo Destiny. This thing is foreboding and sick. We talked about the Shining Gyarados from Neo Revelation, but the Shinings from Neo Destiny were all kind of this style, where the entire Pokemon was made out of hollow. I was lucky enough to pull a Shining Raichu and Shining Kabutops in my youth, which I'm very grateful for. Let's see. So those were the Mewtwo's I wanted to shout out. But forgive me. I will shout out a few other promos because we have... oh, wow. We have many, apparently. Yes, we have this Legendary Collection card. That was a promo. Oh, wait, no, I didn't write promo. LOL. This iconic WotC promo here with the Cyburn. We have the original movie promo with that kind of gold embossed lettering there on the side. But I really wanted to show off this one. Again, I showed off that Mew from Scarlet and Violet 151. I think Mewtwo flying over the Dark City here is really, really indicative of its character and really, really cool. I wanted to show that one off as well. So, it is not only the star of Pokemon the first movie, the most iconic Pokemon movie. It is the star of Mewtwo Returns and Genesect and the Legend Awakened, which is super great. We see Mewtwo in one of its mega forms there. It also starred in the Detective Pikachu film. Mewtwo is a key character in that film, which is super, super awesome. Gosh, I loved how Mewtwo appeared in that film. I also loved how its voice changed. So great. Also, notable anime features, we see it as Armored Mewtwo in the TV show anime. We also see Armored Mewtwo in the film. But also wanted to mention Mewtwo from Pokemon Origins, because Pokemon Origins was a special run where we saw Red's adventures in Pokemon, and in that final episode we see Red's Mega Charizard X face off against Mewtwo, and ooh yeah. And this is one of the only versions of Mewtwo that I believe we see that where Mewtwo does not speak, which is very, very cool. And then, I mean, you put all that together, and Mewtwo is one of the most iconic Pokemon of all time. It stars in the most iconic film. It has some of the most iconic cards. Excuse me. It is the final boss of the original games. I think possibly the coolest design they've ever made. Super powerful, super sick. Mewtwo more than deserves the third spot here on our list. And there's only two left. You know who they are. Folks, I gotta be honest. I really tried to think about how I could make this list end differently. I really did. But at the end of the day, I couldn't. And at number 2, we see Charizard. Charizard is here at number 2. Charizard is certainly one of the most iconic Pokemon of all time. Charizard is one of the most heavily featured Pokemon of all time. All you TCG fans will know, Charizard is heavily, and I mean heavily featured. But it's featured for great reason. It's a fire-breathing dragon. It's super, super cool. One of the OG starters, and let's get to its resume now. It is a cover star twice in the original Red and Fire Red. It is a cool mascot, a lot like Lucario, but I would say more iconic. That design is just simple, and it's just simple enough. It can really capture your imagination. I do want to... Let's go to... Let me do Sugimori. This artwork right here was featured on the base set pack, which we absolutely love of Charizard. But the one that I loved was right here. I loved that Charizard kind of fire-breathing dragon up. That is the art I always kind of remember of Charizard when I was young. Plenty of great NPC representation. We see it as a member of Champion Lance's team, which was a great addition in Generation 2. It was a member of Pokemon Trainer Red's team up there on Mount Silver, and it was an ace Pokemon of Champion Blue in the OG Red and Blue, as well as Fire Red and Leaf Green. Also playable in Super Smash Bros. Originally playable as a part of Pokemon Trainer. You could play as Squirtle, Ivysaur, and Charizard kind of all at the same time in rotation, which was super interesting. A super interesting way for it to be introduced as a playable character in Smash. Also available in Pokken, so you have that double feature there. Charizard, along with Mewtwo, getting 2 Mega Evolutions. We see here, we have Mega Charizard X. I think Mega Charizard X is probably the greatest example of what like Mega Evolution can do. Because it makes Charizard look a lot more powerful and a lot different, but still inherently Charizard. It just looks so cool, and it of course gains that Dragon typing, which is so dope. And then we also see Mega Charizard Y, which... Excuse me. There we go. Mega Charizard Y, nothing to scoff at. Super great. Just a cool, spikier version of regular Charizard. And really, and kept that fire flying type. But unlike Mewtwo, Charizard gets a Gigantamax form as well. And this Gigantamax form is iconic in its own right. It is the ace of Pokemon Champion Leon in the Generation 8 games. I hadn't mentioned that yet in its NPC features. So it is a champion ace Pokemon multiple times over, which we love to see. I didn't even write that down for Leon. How about that? It's featured in Pokemon Snap. You can knock a Charmeleon into the lava, so it evolves into a Charizard. I remember that one, which is great. And right here, Charizard is the face of the Pokemon trading card game as a collectible. The base set Charizard, and we'll get to it here, the base set Charizard right here is the single most iconic card in the Pokemon TCG. This Arita artwork is so incredibly awesome. It is so cool. It captures the imagination. It has an absolute timeless style. The pose, the holo, it's so great. And there's a reason it's one of the great cards ever. There's a reason it's one of the great collectibles ever. This Charizard card is the card in the Pokemon TCG to me. It might not be the most expensive or the most rare, but it is a card that everyone who enjoyed this hobby from a young age like me at that time had experience with and always coveted. This Charizard card, it's the card. This is the card, and why we see Charizard so high. But we'll see a couple other great Charizard cards. I don't want to scoff at these right here. This Shining Charizard from Neo Destiny flying through the canyon is so dope. We have, a Charizard Gold Star right here. We see that shiny black Charizard as well. And of course, it's Delta Species. That dark type in there is awesome. And then, I mean, just so many great cards. I mean, we have this card from 151. Gosh, this cute Charizard flying over the canyon. You see the volcano. This was the Charizard pull from 151, one of the great modern sets. We see the Reshizard from Unbroken Bonds. This was kind of like, to me, maybe the start of the big hype. Hold on. We're going to go here. This, we're going to start the Kanto Symphony. This is also by Braxton Burks. But right here, I would say this Reshiram Charizard was maybe one of the first big chases that kind of led us into the era that we're in right now. And as you can see, it's a rainbow rare. People might not think too much of it. As a matter of fact, the regular ultra rare Charizard Reshiram from Unbroken Bonds is a far superior card to me in terms of art. This looks so cool to me. So epic, so powerful. Love this Reshiram Charizard GX. And then we have the UPC promos. The Charizard UPC was a big deal. This Charizard VMAX is amazing. I mean, let me just search Charizard promo and see what comes up, man. Because we're going to have some great Phantasmal Flames. This promo from the Champion's Path ETB was huge. This Charizard V right here, the Sleepy Charizard after the battle, was one of those UPC promos. There was a third, the Charizard V-Star that we see right here, battling it out with Mewtwo. I didn't even mention that for Mewtwo's TCG rep. So cool. And we have Lance's Charizard here from Celebrations. I mean, it's... The list goes on and on and on. I could talk about Charizard cards forever. There's great Charizard cards in Flashfire, EX Dragon, just all through the hit. There's a Crystal Charizard. There's that EX Dragon art. Just all throughout the TCG's history. Not to mention the upcoming illustration rare from Phantasmal Flames is incredible. Oh my gosh. No shortage of iconic Charizard cards. If you decide to get in the hobby, if you're not yet, I mean, Charizard's a great place to start. It was featured in Detective Pikachu, of course. There was a villain character that actually used the Charizard, which I found interesting. And then at the end of the day, it is a featured Pokemon of Ash Ketchum. One of Ash's very, very most iconic Pokemon, outside of one other one. Charizard was famous for disobeying Ash in that original anime run, and he eventually earned its trust later on. And I say red in the anime because, as we have discussed, Bulbasaur is kind of like the canon Kanto starter for red, as kind of confirmed by the developers by giving Red a Venusaur and Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. But Red in the anime, that Pokemon Origins, like I mentioned, uses that Mega Charizard X to battle Mewtwo. So Charizard has always been a key Pokemon to both Ash and Red, even if it maybe isn't the Pokemon of Red. You know what I mean? But Charizard's at number 2. I think that was very easy to see from a mile away. But, folks, I gotta say again, this has been one of the most fun projects I've ever done here. This is so fun and just silly and wonderful. And thank you for watching this with me. I think we all know who number 1 is. Number 1 is Pikachu. Pikachu is the greatest Pokemon of all time. Pikachu is indisputable. It is inevitable. Like I said, I tried to think about this list like, what if Charizard's number 1? What if Mewtwo's number 1? No. It's Pikachu. It is greatest Pokemon of all time. And Pikachu has the resume. No Pokemon has the resume that Pikachu has. It is not close. And we're going to go through it right now. Igglybuff number 1. I mean, Igglybuff cute. I mean, Jigglypuff was in the 30s, I think. So it can ride Jigglypuff's coattails a little bit. So, Pikachu's at number 1. Pikachu is the cover star a couple of times. We see it as the cover star of Pokemon Yellow and Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. It is the star of Hey You Pikachu. So, Pikachu is a main character in multiple video games, and being featured in the actual game series was one of the heaviest considerations that I made in this list. It's the star of Detective Pikachu for the DS twice. It's Detective Pikachu and Detective Pikachu Returns. Pikachu is a starter Pokemon twice in both Yellow and Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. Featured in Pokemon Snap in multiple areas, actually, which is super cool. You can see Pikachu using different special moves in different areas, which was really awesome. I always appreciated luring Pikachu to the surfboard in the beach area where I would use Thundershock. Super great. Pikachu was playable in Super Smash Bros., which we love. One of the, I think, the OG Pokemon that you could play as in Super Smash Bros. Also playable in Pokémon Tournament. It had multiple forms as well, because there was regular Pikachu, and then there was like Luchador Pikachu, which was very silly. Pikachu itself did not get a Mega, because it kind of couldn't. Raichu, however, does have 2 Megas coming up, and Pikachu does get a Gigantamax form, and people refer to this as Chunky Chew, because people back in the day, Pikachu was drawn a little fatter back in the day. We'll just say that, and this is kind of a nod to that. Not to mention the mascot of the Vivid Voltage set, specifically Gigantamax Pikachu. Pikachu after too many Krabby Patties, and then he'll blow up. But it got a signature move and a Z move. The Z move for Pikachu, forgive me, I don't remember it off the top of my head, but that Volt Tackle move was such a big deal when it was introduced, because I believe Pikachu got Volt Tackle in Gen 3, if I'm not mistaken. And Volt Tackle is actually the move that Pikachu uses in the Detective Pikachu film toward the end of the movie, like its most powerful move. Pikachu's the logo. Pikachu is a logo for the series. Like, you looked at all those Celebrations cards. What were they stamped with? A Pikachu face. That Pikachu head with those ears, they are as iconic as Mickey Mouse, and that is not an exaggeration. Pikachu is one of the great mascots, literally in humankind, when it comes to just fun characters. Pikachu, it's funny, Pikachu and Mickey, something about mice, because Pikachu is very much like a mouse Pokemon. The electric mouse Pokemon, literally. So Pikachu got a card in the original base set. We see it right here. There was a rarer variant that had red cheeks that you would see in first edition in some shadowless printings of Pikachu, which is really, really awesome. This Arita Pikachu just in the forest. As you can see, Pikachu was drawn fatter back in the day. There's actually a really nice card from Celebrations that I will point out to you, because it takes that artwork and it expands it to be like a full art card. So you see that right there, which is really, really a nice nod to the original TCG, kind of seeing what that whole background would look like. And of course we have like the flying Pikachu and the surfing Pikachu. Those were kind of like iconic alternate forms of Pikachu. And there was like a surfing mini game that was with yellow, where you could surf around with Pikachu, which was awesome. Oh, I need to exit out of that. So, I mean, Charizard might have the iconic TCG card, but no Pokemon has had greater TCG representation than Pikachu, and it's not close. We have this awesome Gold Star card here. We have many iconic promos. We have this first movie promo. Oh, my personal favorite. I love that lightning in the background. I love the gold lettering. It is so cool. Love those movie promos. They really take me back. Pikachu, like we mentioned with... hello? Not let me click on this one. Like we mentioned with Eevee gets its own Scream promo. We have the Van Gogh Pikachu. That was a big deal. Alright, I guess I'll have to Google it. Pardon me, folks. There we go. There's our Scream Pikachu, along with the Scream Eevee there. We have the Mario Pikachu. which I don't even know if this would be on TCG Player either. Yes, we have the half art and the full art. These this iconic collaboration with Mario is one of the iconic modern promos. They're so expensive. Another personal favorite is the Beauty Looking Back Pikachu card. These were like the stamp promo cards. I love this. Kind of that old school Japanese style art. We have the Unigaba Pikachu here. There's the birthday Pikachu. I mean, let me just type Pikachu promo and just kind of quick fire some of these. This WotC Ivy Pikachu, this green kind of Bumblebee Pikachu, the surfing Pikachu, the flying Pikachu, like we mentioned, the birthday Pikachu, modern Scarlet and Violet promos. We have this Snap promo, like I was talking about, from Scarlet and Violet here. I mean, just endless Pikachu cards. Let's see. Pikachu, being the mascot of the series, is also the mascot of the anime. It was the iconic companion of Ash Ketchum for many years. And even now that Ash is retired, Pikachu is still the mascot of the anime, basically. It was the first following Pokemon was Pikachu all the way back in Pokemon Yellow. So great turning around and talking Pikachu. See those little hearts around its head. Starred in the Detective Pikachu film, the first live-action Pokemon film, which was really great. The widely appealing design there. Like I said, they chose Pikachu because it was the perfect mix of cute, cool, feminine, and masculine. It was everything. Anybody could see themselves in Pikachu. And that is where I get to kind of my final point on Pikachu. It is the mascot of Pokemon, and it is one of the iconic mascots in all of media. I mentioned Mickey Mouse earlier. Pikachu is as iconic, if not more. Genuinely. And that's really that. There was really no other Pokemon to be number one but Pikachu, especially when I consider the list greatest and not like strongest or coolest or whatever. We're all Pikachu. You're so right. We're all in this together. We're all Pikachu. And folks, that concludes this list of 151 greatest Pokemon of all time. At number one, we have our friend and yours, Pikachu. So, what's next? There's a lot more. I guess I'm dating this episode now by continuing to talk, but I don't really care. We're playing Kingdom Hearts now. We'll get into more Pokemon. Don't worry, Pokemon will always be a bread and butter of this channel as my favorite game series of all time. And I'm really grateful that you joined me on this journey. It has been a blast and a half making this list and talking about just the fun things that I love and the video games that I love. And of course, as you know, I started this channel for the love of the game, baby. And I'm happy to continue doing that. So, we all know Brock is the best Pokemon. That's true. He's got his trusty drying pan. And with that, I will bid you all adieu. I hope you have a great rest of your week. And I will see you all on the other side. Thank you for watching. Peace, kids.